So today I wanted to ask the question of whether your friends are pulling you closer to Allah or pushing you away. And it's a bit of a loaded question, to be honest, because I don't think many people really think about it. And it can take some time to realize one or the other, because this can happen with even your Muslim friends. Despite you both being Muslim or your whole friendship group being Muslim, what you're actually doing on a day-to-day basis might actually not align too well with your values and your intention to get closer to Allah. So I think it's really important to understand who you surround yourself with, because ultimately you are a culmination of everyone that you spend time with. So if the people that you are spending time with are taking you away from where you want to go and taking you further away from Allah, then is that really the right thing for you? Are they the right people that you should be surrounding yourself with? So for me, back in high school, I only used to hang around with non-Muslims. That was just my friendship group for the whole of 5 years. From year 7 to year 11, we would hang out together. And you know what, alhamdulillah, for back then, I think probably that was the right thing for me. Before I go into this, I want to preface that the people that I do mention in this video, I don't have a single bad thing to say about them at all. It's natural that people diverge from their paths. And for me, that's kind of what happened at the end of high school and that transition into college. When you're in high school, it's very innocent I don't know what happens in high schools now, but back then for me and my friends, when we'd hang out, it'd be a kick around in the park, or we'd go to each other's houses and play FIFA or something like that. Pretty harmless stuff. You just hang out basically. But as soon as we got into college, things started to change. And when I was getting invited out, it'd be to parties, and there was always be drinking involved. And alhamdulillah, I've always known my values, and I was quite innocent. I didn't really realize these things would happen to me and my friends, because I just thought, oh, we've never even talked about that kind of stuff. No one's mentioned it, like it's all fine. But suddenly, once it started happening, it was a shock for me and a shock to my system. I was like, oh my God, like, what is going on? This is so opposite who I am and my values. Ultimately, I'm a Muslim. I don't drink, so why am I here? And I felt so uncomfortable every single time those things happen around me. And it was in college that I realized that this isn't okay and I need to change this. Obviously, that's very difficult to do. And I slowly distanced myself from my friends. It wasn't even intentional at first, I don't think. It was just like, I knew what they were going to get up to. I knew that I wouldn't enjoy myself, so why should I waste my time and go? I'm not that kind of person that just goes for the sake of doing things. Alhamdulillah, and it's a good thing as well, slowly over time, because nothing bad happened between us. It was just that natural distance. And they realized that themselves and stopped inviting me. And you know what, even to this day, I'm still friendly with them. And if I was to see him, it would be a laugh. But now it's not the right time for me to be hanging around with people like that. I've outgrown that. You know what, I don't even want to say outgrown, because I feel like that means that they've stayed the same and I've somehow gotten bigger or better or something. No, it was simply a divergence of paths. Ultimately, I'm a Muslim. I want to get closer to Allah. And being in that kind of environment is going to take me away from that. And I'm sure a lot of you have kind of been in that situation where maybe people that you are around are going down the path that isn't suitable for you. And I want to make it clear that you have to acknowledge this and accept this, and realize that means that maybe the path that you have gone down with these people is slowly coming to an end. And that's completely natural. But I think the most difficult part about this is the loneliness that comes with that. So for some of you, maybe you will distance yourself from people who don't align with your values and your Islam anymore. However, that doesn't mean you meet people straight away who do that and you are comfortable around them and you don't have to compromise for them. It might come with a period of loneliness. So for me, that was back in college. In my first year of college, once I stopped going out with my old friends, I was like, okay, what now kind of thing. And because it was COVID time as well, obviously that meant no physical interaction with anyone. I wasn't even going into classes, I didn't have exams. So how am I supposed to meet new people? And alhamdulillah, just by chance, I was able to get back into contact with some people that I knew from high school who were Muslim, but I just never hung out with them because we weren't in the same classes. But alhamdulillah, they invited me and we started hanging out, and they came at the right time. But between that point where I met them and the time before where I distanced myself, there is that period of loneliness. And I can't tell you how long that will be for you. It's difficult because nobody wants to be alone. But I think being alone is better than being in an environment where it's detrimental to your Islam and your deen. So I just want to make it clear that that period of loneliness that you might go through is completely normal. However, you have to just keep going. And ultimately, if your intention is in the right place, Allah will bring people to you that are more suitable for you to hang around. And I think if you're going in that direction anyway, you'll naturally go into environments where there are more people that are like what's the word? That are like-minded and have the same goals and values as you. And that's just a natural course of life. I don't think you have to kind of go out your way to try and make friends or anything like that, unless you struggle a lot and you feel like, oh my God, I need to do X, Y, and Z to meet new people, whatever. But I think that naturally most people will just go in a certain direction and naturally meet people that are more like themselves. That's kind of what happened to me. Spent more time at the masjid and I met new people there, and my friends from back in high school who it was just by chance that we got in touch and they invited me somewhere, and I realized, oh, like this is much more what I need rather than what I had before. So I should probably talk about how having different friends actually affects your life day to day. And I think the biggest thing is not having to compromise. I felt like there were so many times in my old friendship group where I had to compromise because they didn't see what I see, they didn't believe what I believe. For example, even just something as simple as choosing a halal place to eat. Something so simple, sometimes it just became difficult because everyone wants to eat in one place and I'm just like, oh, I can't eat there. And then everyone's like, oh. And by the way, not all people are like this. And it was probably a bit of me as well, just not wanting to be an inconvenience. But that's the thing, it's like you shouldn't have to be that way around your friends. And by the way, if you're comfortable with that and you're fine with having to compromise all the time, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. I'm talking to the people who do want to get closer to Allah. Ultimately, it's going to be very difficult if you're spending all your time with people like that who, when it's time to pray namaz, it's just you getting up and be like, oh, like, I need to go and pray. Oh, there's nowhere to pray. There's no place to do wudu. Okay, what do I do now? Like, but if you're with people who think like that already, it's normal. It'll be like, oh yeah, let's walk to here. Oh, it's surrounded around your plans. Your plans already, it's integrated into that. It's like, okay, before we go traveling here, where are we going to pray? Like, what are we going to eat? All those things you think about already, and everyone's thinking about them. So you don't feel awkward or embarrassed or anything like that when you need to fulfill your obligations to Allah. And that's the main thing. Now, I feel like whenever I go out with my friends, it's so natural. And do you know what? I'd compare it to, for example, being in a non-Muslim country to being in a Muslim country. I think that's the best analogy I can give. So obviously I live in the UK. Whenever you go anywhere in the UK and you want to eat, you look online to see like, oh, okay, like, can I eat here? How close is it to the masjid? Is there anywhere to do with it? It's those kind of normal questions that I feel like are ingrained into us in the UK, where you have to ask them before you do anything. However, like, I did a bit of traveling recently, and alhamdulillah I was able to go to the UAE, visit some family, and over there I didn't realize how much pressure was kind of taken off of me. Being in that kind of environment where you're hearing the adhan and it's like, oh, the closest masjid is right here. You don't have to think about it. They're all around you. If you want food, doesn't matter what shop you go into, it's going to be halal. And not having that stress on top of your head, you don't realize it until you go into a place where it's so normal. And I'd say the same about having friends that align with with your values and don't. It's kind of like a bit of a weight on your head that you have all the time, that you know you have to think about extra things. Even though if you were with people who already thought about all that kind of stuff, you'd be way more comfortable and that stress wouldn't be there. It'd just be like normal. And I think another thing that I should mention is that just because I'm saying all this, it doesn't mean that you don't have to have friends that aren't Muslim. This can happen with people that are Muslim as well, by the way. It can be anyone who doesn't bring you closer to Allah. And that's why I framed it that way at the beginning of the video. Do they bring you closer to Allah or do they push you away? If they're pulling you closer to Allah, that's great. You should spend more time with them. If they're pushing you away, then maybe you should reevaluate your time with them. And I think that brings me to the question of how do I navigate relationships with people who, for example, aren't Muslim or perhaps don't bring me close to Allah. Because like I said, there's no neutral, there's no in between. They either bring you closer or they don't. And I don't think it's a problem to have friends who don't necessarily pull you closer to Allah in that way that maybe some other friends would. However, it's the amount of time you spend with them. So one of my best friends, actually, he is non-Muslim and he is from, well, we met how many years ago? Like 16 years ago now, a long time. Okay, maybe not 16, like 12 years ago, whatever it was, at the start of high school. But he respects me a lot and he respects my values, he respects my time, my morals, he respects Islam. And it's only me and him that hang out regularly from back then. And it's much easier when there's just two of you. So I will make time for him maybe a couple of times a year, will come and meet. And as guys as well, we don't have to speak to people all the time to be on good terms. So I'm very happy with that kind of relationship where you don't have to see each other all the time. But, you know, I still value the friendship, I still value the advice, and sometimes it is nice to get another opinion on things. That's normal. I'm not saying you have to be 100% hardcore, only like hang out with like people who are going to the masjid all the time and stuff, because at the end of the day, it's not realistic. Everyone's paths in life are different and you'll come across many different people. But for me, I still keep in touch and I still value that time and that friendship that I do have. But ultimately, the main point of this video is, who do you spend the majority of your time with? Because they're going to have the most influence on you. So what I want you to take away from this video is essentially the same question that I asked you at the start. A bit of an audit of the people that you do surround yourself with. Are they bringing you closer to Allah or are they pushing you further away? And if you're still struggling with that, then you're more than welcome to book in a free call with me. The link's in the description, but that will be a more tailored approach to you and how you can kind of assess the people you're around. We can go through it together and slowly make a plan of how you can kind of get out of that. Because it's difficult, I completely understand that. But if that is something that you're interested in, then please let me know and we'll have a chat. But that's all I wanted to put across in this video. So take care of yourselves and assalamu alaikum.